We're ready to go, Chair.
Thank you very much. Good evening, councillors and officers. Welcome, and I want to welcome to this online meeting on Wednesday, the 11th of November, 2020. I am Councillor Dave Harris. I'm Councillor for Beerchurch Ward, and I will be chairing the meeting this evening. This meeting is being broadcast live via Zoom over the internet on the council's YouTube channel, and will also be available to watch afterwards. To begin, there are a few matters of housekeeping, with the exception of the Democratic Services Officer advising us, would participants all please mute their microphones unless they are invited to speak. I will ask for each item of business to be presented and then ask each member of the panel in turn if they wish to ask a question or comment. At the end of each item of business, I'll ask each panel member in turn to confirm orderly how they wish to vote. We may have a break at 7:30, subject to the progress of the meeting. For introductions, I would now ask each member of the panel to introduce themselves, and I'll start with Councillor Mike Hogg, my Deputy Chair.
Good evening, Chairman. Councillor Mike Hogg, St Anne's and St John's Wards.
Thank you, Councillor Hogg. Councillor Lynn Barton.
Good evening, Councillor Lynn Barton, Shrub End Ward.
Councillor Helen Chua.
Good evening, Councillor Helen Chua, St Anne's and St John's Ward.
Thank you. Councillor Simon Crowe.
Councillor Simon Crowe, Castle Ward.
Councillor John Elliott.
Evening, Councillor John Elliott, Tiptree Ward.
Councillor Patricia Moore.
Good evening, Councillor Patricia Moore, Pyfleet, Mersey and Pyfleet Ward.
Councillor Beverley Oxford.
Good evening, Beverley Oxford, Highwoods Ward.
Councillor Barbara Wood.
Good evening, Councillor Barbara Wood, Tiptree Ward.
And Councillor Tim Young.
Good evening, Councillor Tim Young, Greenstead Ward.
Thank you, members. So just as a preamble, there's the raise hand function on the chat. So you can raise your hand at any time to speak. And I'm assuming that you've all agreed to the fact that the vote will be conducted by me calling out the names, and the Democratic Service Officer will be recording that for us for the minutes. Item 2, members, is substitutions. I've got no notice of any substitutions, but I do know that Councillor Buston is still not here.
Yes, Chairman. Councillor Buston will be joining us later. He's been delayed on another matter.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Item 3, members, is urgent items. I have none. Item 4. Over to you, members, if you've got any declarations of any interest for any of the items that are on the agenda tonight.
Chairman, if I may, my usual declaration on item 9 as a licence holder and a premises licence holder and a trustee for a charity.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hogg. Anyone else? Councillor Chair?
Yeah, just to say that I'm a trustee of the community hall as well. Thank you.
Any others? Thank you, members. Item 5 is to invite the committee to confirm as a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on the 30th of September. And I'd like to ask each member in turn to agree the minutes of the previous meeting, and I'm going to call out each member's name and wait for them to agree. Okay, the first person, of course, is the Deputy Chair, Councillor Mike Hogg.
In favour, Chairman.
Councillor Lynn Barton.
Agreed.
Councillor Helen Chua.
Agreed.
Councillor Crowe.
Agreed.
Councillor Elliott.
Agreed.
Councillor Moore. Councillor Moore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Frozen.
Okay, Councillor Moore has put a thumbs up. Matthew? Councillor Oxford?
Agreed.
Councillor Barbara Wood?
Agreed.
And Councillor Young?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, members. Could you confirm the vote for us, please, Matthew?
Yes, Chair, that was unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I voted in favour, of course, as well. Item 6, have your say, and there are no notified have your say speakers. Is that correct, Matthew?
Yes, that's right, Chair.
Members, which brings us to item 7. Now, the statutory taxi and private hire vehicle standards have been released, and the council has done a lot of work on this, and I'd like to invite Sarah White to present the report, please.
Thank you, Chairman. The committee will be aware that there's been a will within a number of bodies responsible for taxi licensing to address some of the issues that have come out of the well-publicised sexual exploitation cases involving the taxi trade. And there's been much discussion industry-wide on the issue of standards. And this document is perhaps the culmination of that work and those discussions. I think probably the committee will be pleased to know that its new policy, which we've been working to since 2019, January, is largely in line with all the standards. There is some work to do, which is identified in the report, but we don't feel there's anything too significant or anything that's going to cause us too much trouble in its implementation. We're suggesting that we'll bring a more detailed report setting out exactly how we propose to make the changes and where we do need to alter the policy to the members, potentially or hopefully at the next meeting in January. I don't know if the committee wants to go through each of the changes or if I'm just happy to take questions, Chairman.
I'm happy for you to take questions. I was going to go around each committee member to see if they've got any comments at all. The remark I'd like to make to start off with is that I note that between items 7.1 and 7.34 on the report you've given us, there's been an awful lot of work measuring the council against its standard, and I do thank you for that, Sarah, and thank you for the staff. Members, can I ask, start with Councillor Mike Hogg, any comments on this?
Only, Chairman, that it is a thorough piece of work, and obviously very grateful for the amount of work that Sarah and John have put into this. I'm assuming, hopefully, that we're ahead of the game and that we're in line to make sure that this is adopted ASAP. So congratulations for the report.
I don't know if Sarah wants to react to that. I'm guessing this.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, it has been a lot of work to look through it, but as I say, we are heartened by the fact that the council's taken early action, quite some time ago now, it feels like, to align us largely with the standards that are there. I think perhaps actually I could just add most of the work we need to do is around DBS, the provision of DBS. The standards set out quite clearly the need for drivers to do 6-month DBSs, which is at odds with where we are currently. We were moving to annual DBSs in some areas, but this has been added into areas where they're not currently in the policy. So the DBS is really the challenge that we face and how we do that. And that's where we need to have more discussion with our third party who manages that for us on our behalf. So we will bring those details back to members in due course.
Thank you, Sarah. Councillor Crowe.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just echo what Councillor Hogg said. That's a very robust document, and I certainly couldn't find anything to find any fault with it. I just have one comment stroke suggestion. Item 7.13 about the complaints against licensees. The recommendation that a notice be displayed in vehicles encouraging complaints to be directed to the council. And I do know from speaking to someone who worked as a controller for a taxi firm, how often people are reluctant to speak to authority when there's an issue, and we'll maybe go back to the private motor vehicle company. And I think maybe we've just had a reassurance that complaints will be dealt with in the strictest confidence, to try and just make people feel more at ease about bringing a complaint to the council if they feel so inclined.
Thank you. Sarah, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, Chairman, we're happy to do that. I think we'll need to do some find some appropriate wording. We'll probably work with our comms team on that. But yes, I'm happy to add that in, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Barton? You're muted, Councillor Barton. Sorry, we all do it.
Unmute. Sorry, no, nothing particular except to say impressed with the amount of work that's gone into it and thorough job. Thank you.
I agree. Good evening, Councillor Buston. Did you want to comment on this?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Firstly, my apologies for being late. I've been on a meeting since about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I've been unable to get out of it, but fortunately it's finished now and I'm able to get into our meeting. So my apologies to you and to everyone else on the committee for being a bit late. Yes, I've seen this this review, including the item that Sarah's recently sent to us. And thank you very much indeed from me also for a tremendous piece of work. I think we've all got to remember that this is always going to be work in progress. It's never going to be a finished document. It's never going to be done and dusted. Well, we never have to look at this again. It's a legal requirement that we do that, and I think it's a good legal requirement because we need to be able to move with the times. And clearly, we've got a good, strong, robust licensing team that take this seriously and make sure it happens. And I think because we have few problems, frankly, in our area, that is a reflection of that, because the trade and business know that we're actually on board these things and we mean business. So I think that's a good reflection and it works well. It will always change, and I accept that. But the team are ahead of the curve, and that's good, and I'm very pleased to see it. I would echo what Councillor Crow's just said about the confidential reporting. I think a little sticker inside the cabs somewhere to give a confidential email that they can come to, or a confidential telephone number where they can contact somebody in the licensing team and report their concerns confidentially, I think would be a very useful item for us, because as he rightly says, frankly, people don't like to complain for a number of reasons, one of which they may think that they will be victimised themselves further than the problem that they've already got. Equally, with the coming of CCTV in our licensed vehicles, I think the level of complaints will drop, because not only will drivers behave themselves more, but in particular, frankly, passengers will behave themselves a lot more. And how many sessions have we had to sit in and adjudicate on cases where quite clearly the problem's not been with the taxi driver, the problem's actually been with the occupants of the taxi. So I'm looking forward to the coming of CCTV to actually take down the complaints level even further. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, team, for what you've done.
Thank you, Councillor Buston. Any reaction, Sarah?
Well, thank you very much. No, I think only just to say, just to reassure members that where we do get complaints, they are always dealt with confidentially. We don't share those details with the driver, although it would be fair to say some complaints can be so memorable to both parties that you know, that's unnecessary. But we don't share details of the complainants.
Thank you, Sarah. Councillor Choa?
Thank you, Chairman. No comments except to echo the work that has been put in the document. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Elliott?
No, I have nothing further to add, but it's a lot of good work has been put into it. Thank you.
Councillor Moore?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
No, nothing to add, just that it is an excellent piece of work and I applaud all those that have had a hand in it. Thank you.
Councillor Oxford.
No, nothing to add. Thank you very much.
Councillor Wood.
Nothing, nothing to add. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Councillor Young.
Echo the thanks and comments from other members, but nothing to add, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Young. In that case, I'll go through the vote for the recommendation, which is that we take this forward, and you'll get it back at some stage, I'm guessing, Sarah, isn't that correct, for some future meeting?
Yes, it is, Chairman. Thank you. We'd like to get it back to you pretty quickly, actually. So we would hope to hit the next meeting in January if we possibly can.
Thank you. So I shall take the vote now. Matthew Evans, I'll start with in the reverse order. He shall be last, shall be first. Councillor Young.
4.
Councillor Wood.
4.
Councillor Oxford.
4.
Councillor Moore.
4.
Councillor Elliott.
4.
Councillor Crowe.
4.
Councillor Chow.
4.
Councillor Buston.
4.
Councillor Barton.
4.
Councillor Hogg.
4.
And I am also a 4, Matthew.
Thanks, Chairman. That's unanimous.
Thank you very much, members. Thank you, members, for that. And thank you, Sarah, for the report. The next item, members, is item 8, Caravan and Park Homes Update, which is a very brief report, but it's an important one nonetheless. Could I invite Sarah White to present the report, please?
Thank you, Chairman. As you mentioned, it's a brief report, just an update on where we are. Just a little bit to add to this because we've gone obviously into another lockdown, so the situation has changed slightly again. And probably the most important thing to highlight to members is the exception to the rules, which mean that anybody who was on a caravan site, possibly or almost certainly in the process of being removed if they didn't have a right to be there, is now able to be there, and that was an exception in the coronavirus, the various regulations. So where action was being taken to remove some remaining residents, if you want to say, that's had to stop because they now have a legitimate right to be there for the time being. We'll revisit that obviously as and when the legislation changes again. So that's just a quick update. Otherwise, it is pretty much as set out in the report, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Any questions, members? Seeing no comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'm trying to see how I can raise my hand.
Right.
Right, here we are. I've got a hand raised. There you go.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you very much indeed for allowing me to comment. Yes, this has been the subject of a bit of correspondence over the last few weeks, particularly relating to caravans in Mersey. And whereas I appreciate and members do appreciate the constraints that are placed upon us by the legislation, which is constantly shifting sands, nonetheless, on the distaff side of that, there is a thought that some people are trying to take advantage of this and the confusion that is brought about by it. And our concern is, or should be, that there are some people trying to take advantage of the rules, and they have no evidence to back up the fact that they are within the class of statutorily exempt people. In other words, the statutory exemption applies to them such that they can stay there. In regard to claiming a statutory exemption, I would suggest that it is not sufficient just to say, oh, by the way, I'm X or Y, and that's sufficient. It needs to actually be proved that you're X or Y, or you have that particular characteristic in order to be able to enjoy the statutory exemption that you claim. and I'm suggesting for the council's own protection, the council should obtain copies of that evidence to support the claim for exemption by the folk that are claiming that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Buston. Sarah, did you want to comment?
I'll do my best, Chairman. Thank you. Yes, I think point Councillor Buster makes is very valid. We do ask for evidence, and I believe that is the case. You will be aware, members, this is John's particular area of expertise and not mine. But he has briefed me on that, and I understand that he has asked for evidence and is still requesting information from one particular park at the moment. So I think we are aware of the need to evidence their right to be there. As I say, the current situation does make that a little bit more difficult, but we will be we'll be looking at it in detail going forward. But John is satisfied at the moment with the current position, but he is aware of the need to follow this up pretty soon after those changes are made, Chairman.
Thank you for that response, Sarah. I'm obliged for that. I'm also aware that John's put a lot of work into this, and on his shoulders falls the difficulties of actually trying to pin this down. I would suggest that we need to go further, almost as a committee, to suggest that if the evidence is not produced, and clearly two fingers are being waved at the enforcement team, then the operators should be under no illusions whatsoever that the penalty for not complying is that you will lose your license. Only when that happens will people be spurred into providing what they need to provide. And frankly, we're only needing to ask for this, I suggest, because it appears evident in a number of areas that fingers are being waved at the enforcement team, which is something that as a licensing authority we cannot allow to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Chairman, only to say that I'm assuming that all of this has to be taken in the round with the government's moratorium on evictions, which apply to everybody. So anything that happens and is carried out by the licensing department would have to recognise the government legislation on it. That we cannot make evictions, whoever they are.
Sarah?
Yes, Chairman, that's right. Yeah.
I see no indications. It's for noting, so I'm assuming there's no vote needed, Matthew?
No, Chair, if you're happy to proceed with members just indicating their assent that the report be noted, we can proceed on that way.
Noted?
Noted.
Thank you very much, members. Thank you.
Yeah, noted.
Thank you. Members, that brings us to item 9, the review of the Licence Act 2003 and the statement of licensing policy, the results of the consultation. And I invite Sarah White to present the report. I'm sorry, Sarah, you're in the hot seat again. And I understand for members' benefit, a lot of the amendments and additions are in bold type, if that helps.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, so the report's coming back to you because it's been out for consultation and we have received no comments on it, which is not entirely unsurprising given that we've made very little change to the policy and also given the times in which we find ourselves. And we deliberately left the policy alone largely because of the times in which we find ourselves and also because of uncertainty around what's going to face the trade and the town coming out of the COVID situation when we do. And it seems more pertinent to do a wholesale review at that time when we know what the landscape looks like for businesses and for the town. So I think I'm happy to take any questions on the changes highlighted in bold, Chairman. I don't think there's anything too controversial in there, shall I put it like that. I think they were necessary changes to bring the policy up to date, given when it was last reviewed. But as I say, there've been no comments, so I would ask if members are happy to forward it on to full council, ready for implementation on the 1st of January 2021, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I will start from the bottom this time. Councillor Young, would you like to comment?
No comment, Chair.
Councillor Wood?
No comments. Thank you very much.
Councillor Oxford?
No comment, thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Moore?
Yep, nothing to add. Thank you.
Councillor Elliott?
No comment.
Councillor Crowe?
And Chair, Councillor Crowe has dropped out of the meeting. I think he's had connection issues. We're trying to get him back in again now.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back to him. Councillor Choa?
No comment, thank you.
Councillor Buston?
Thank you. Save to reiterate what I said in my earlier comments about the hard work that the team's put in relation to the earlier policy we were just considering. Again, this is evidence that our licensing team are working well and working hard and working properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments, Councillor Buston. Councillor Barton?
No comment.
Councillor Hogg?
Happy to endorse, Chairman, and forward to full council.
Thank you. One question from me, Sarah, is that I see you've got a category in there relating to the bid, and I thought that was quite pertinent and apt, and I welcome that, and I think it's very good to keep the policy up to date with such items as that. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Is the Councillor Crowe back in yet?
He is not at the moment, Chair. He is attempting to connect now.
I think we'll give him a minute if that's okay. And then
Yeah, he should be coming back to the meeting, yes, as we speak.
Thank you. Have we got a proposer to accept this, please?
So moved, Chairman.
Seconder?
Happy to second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Buston. So I'll take the vote now. Councillor Hogg first.
In favour.
Councillor Barton.
Agreed.
Councillor Buston.
For.
Councillor Chua. Councillor Chua.
Agreed, thank you.
Councillor Crowe, welcome back. You're muted, Councillor Crowe.
Agreed.
Thank you. Councillor Elliott.
For.
Councillor Moore.
For.
Councillor Oxford.
For.
Councillor Wood.
For.
Councillor Young.
For.
And I am also in for. Could you record the vote, please, Matthew?
Yep, thanks, Chairman. That was unanimous.
Thank you very much, councillors. Which brings us on to the next item on the agenda, which item 10, the Licensing Committee Work Programme 2021. And I invite Matthew Evans to present the report, please.
Thanks, Chair. The only thing really to note here is the changes that have been made to the proposed content of this meeting, as reflected in the last work programme report, and the changes to the 20th of January meeting. So the CCTV implementation or the policy relating to that has been potentially pushed to the January meeting. But other than that, that's the only thing to be noted here, and members are just asked to note the contents, really.
Members, any comments?
Duly noted, Chairman.
Quite happy.
Thank you very much, members.
Yeah, noted, agreed.
And I think that's the last item on the agenda.
It is.
Harry, thank you.
And I'd like to thank you very much for your due diligence in this and for your help, and thank the officers for the hard work and the obvious hard work that they've been doing on these two documents put forward to us today. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Chairman, some of the not so obvious work they've been doing. Congratulations. See you next meeting.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you,
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Right.